Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Whatever part of the world you're listening to our podcast. It's a Thursday, and I decided to go out for a quick walk. So I just wanted to kind of basically inform you all on what's going on in the news, both locally in the US and abroad. So starting off with my alma mater, Liberty University. As most of you know, I graduated from Liberty University. That was basically the brainchild of Dr. Jerry Falwell. And I also played for Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia, as a community service to satisfy my prerequisite in college. We had to do volunteer community service as students at Liberty, free labor work basically. But anyway, what's this issue with Thomas Road? And I'm not gonna dig too deep into the case. It's just that I happen to know some of the participants, and just kind of want to talk about, in general terms, what's been taking place. So there's a woman that was being harassed, stalked, and whose house was entered illegally by one of the pastors at Thomas Road Baptist Church. And they just had their trial, and he was found guilty, and he's going through sentencing in August, I believe, of this year. So I'm just gonna kind of give you my overall thoughts on the issue. One is that, based off of what I hear in the news and listen to the podcasts and read the comments on the case, I'm starting to believe what people are saying, that there is very little transparency on behalf of Thomas Road Baptist Church. And it pains me to say this, but I kind of am starting to believe that they're not wanting to inform the public of certain conditions and events that took place in reference to the case with the woman. So it's sad that a university and a Christian church would mismanage something as important as this kind of case, because the pastor was married and was pursuing a lady outside of his marriage, basically, and entered the house of that woman illegally, and have been stalking that woman for years. So you would think that the church would want to, basically inform the public, especially not just congregation, but those associated to the church or have been to the church, of their position, because it's a very sensitive issue when you have a pastor pursuing another woman and violating that human's space, the woman's space, by entering their house and stalking them, making them feel uncomfortable. Then those kind of behavior needs to be addressed. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It's very unfortunate that the church is mismanaging the issue. So it's become an international and national news, this story. Look it up. It's about the Thomas Road Baptist Church and a pastor of that church violating and breaking into a woman's home, okay, while married and pastoring a church. All right, folks. So, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, right? I see this issue becoming a major escalation of, various conditions that today's church is not ready and able to address. Meaning that they're more concerned about preserving their jobs than actually trying to uncover the truth in this case. And, basically informing the public that things like this should not be kept under wraps, especially for those who trusted the church and trusted, the principles and guidance of church leadership. Okay. So, with this said, would like to have you guys look up the case of Mr. Guardia, okay, Sergio Guardia of Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia. Look them up and provide an opinion, what you think about the case. Share it with me, and I'll try to provide my personal opinion. Just because I am somewhat connected to the victim, and have attended Thomas Road Baptist Church myself. I played, my violin there within the orchestra. So, folks, troubling times we'll live into when a church can't solidly provide their position regarding a breaking and entering case, a stalking case, and a case of a pastor who's married pursuing another woman. Okay, folks, that means that the church is deteriorating in its overall capacity to lead. And so what happens when a church loses credibility? As far as I understand, the local congregation hasn't depleted, but the credibility of the church is still under question, and not by maybe the people within the congregation, but by the people that are looking into how the church is handling the situation. Because eventually they need to recruit new members, and they also send out missionaries and pastors around the world, and those missionaries and pastors around the world's credibility will also be put under scrutiny based off of this case. So that's just a situation, right, folks? Look up, Thomas Road Baptist Church Pastor Sergio Guardia and his story, and the case around it, basically, and let me know what you think. Another issue is this situation in Romania. As you all know, I've lived and worked in Romania. I've actually first moved to Romania as a member of the U.S. Peace Corps, and basically going through a lot of issues pertaining to the upcoming election. So as many of you may have heard, I don't know if y'all follow these kinds of stories, but they had ended up annulling the results of the first presidential election back in December, and basically canceled the second round and moved everything to take place this May 4th. So that's when they're going to have another election activity. So the gentleman by the name of Mr. Georgescu is still pretty active, talking to the press, telling the world basically of his opinion and regarding what took place and what went down that resulted for him to be banned from running for office in Romania in the presidential election. So he got on Tucker Carlson's show just a couple of days ago, or it might have been just yesterday, but they didn't publish the interview up until today, in which he said that he was looking very closely to the overall possibility of World War III escalating from Romania. Because as many of you know, or those who at least pay attention to world affairs and geopolitics, that the biggest NATO base in Europe is based in Romania currently. So it's right next to Ukraine, and it's in Eastern Europe, so it's within proximity to Russia. And his statement, he said, we want nothing to do, or at least his position, he doesn't want anything to have to do with Ukraine or trying to have any form of beef with the Russians, any form of conflict with the Russians, okay? Even though he was associated by the current ruling elite to have had some sort of interaction with the Russians regarding his campaign, he adamantly demystified that. He said, I'm not colluding with the Russians, there is no proof, according to him. So I'm just sharing some of the information that he talked about with Tucker Carlson, okay? So as many of you know, I have also supported the visa waiver initiative in which Romanians will be freely able to come and visit the US without having to apply for a visa. They would have a temporary stay for 90 days and be just like any other Western European member nation citizens that are visiting the US. So I see this becoming a major implication if he was not to be allowed to participate in the election, because he's getting quite a bit of support from the current administration, from mainly a Trump administration and the supporters of the administration. So this could be a deal breaker for Romania and the US when it comes to various agreements and treaties that we've agreed to with Romania. Okay, if the Trump administration is in support of Mr. Georgescu and they want to see him run, but if he's prevented by the European Union and the ruling class in Romania, then he may not be able to run. So as far as what I understand and research is that he's not able to run legally. So I'm not sure exactly what are the overall stipulations to those legal prohibition of him to run, but because he is getting the support from the Trump administration, this could be an issue, a diplomatic issue between Romania and the U.S. if he isn't afforded to campaign and connect with the people. Because according to Mr. Georgescu, he's at this time, okay, it's now April, according to Mr. Georgescu, he's got the support of 50% of the population of Romania. So if that is true and he's got that kind of authority, okay, with the electorate. Oh look, there's a turtle there. It's poking its head out. I think that's a snapping turtle. So if it is true that he's got a massive amount of supporters, then it could be a major problem if he's not given the opportunity to compete in the upcoming election. As you all know, he was actually apprehended a few weeks ago and he was taken to jail, but I don't think he actually stayed in jail. He was taken there to the precinct. I should say precinct, not jail. He was taken to the precinct and was basically informed of some of the things that they claimed that he had violated regarding their electoral process. But what I find interesting is, according to Mr. Georgescu, he's also getting a lot of supports from abroad, the diaspora, the Romanian diaspora. And so that in itself is a pretty interesting predicament to be in, because the diaspora have been influenced by other countries and other markets and opinions, worldviews, cultures, traditions, religion. So they're not the typical local Romanians, okay? They have more exposure to the world community and to the process of democracy and preservation of democracy. Okay, and yet he's saying that he's gaining a lot of support from abroad, you know, according to him in his interview with Tucker Carlson. So Tucker Carlson, just to give you guys a little bit of background information on Mr. Carlson, he was actually ostracized by the national news industry. He's lambasted, made fun of, ostracized, you know, you name it. They took him to the tool shed and beat the living tar out of Mr. Tucker Carlson. So he decided to start his own business operation, which is having his own network and channel on social media and YouTube and other platforms, and build up his media business. And lo and behold, Mr. Tucker Carlson was able to gain access and interview a lot of very powerful and influential people, even though he was just operating as a single brand that he created for himself. This, pure grit and unwillingness to succumb to pressure and to the abuse of power. So he's a pretty special guy, this Tucker Carlson. They did their worst on him and he still kept on going. He fought back and kept on going. So anyway, he's now has this platform online, Tucker Carlson Networks. Subscribe and like his channel, because since he's a small guy that was beaten up by the powerful. Now I support the underdogs of this world. I support those people that are being marginalized, because I myself have been marginalized. I myself have gone through all this garbage from people that have power. So I support those individuals that refuse to give up, that keep on exposing, corruption, evilness, nefarious characters out there. There are evil people out there that are trying to destroy me, just trying to destroy everyone else that they will never amount to, okay, because they simply don't have what it takes to succeed. They don't have what it takes to build a brand and build a concept and build something from nothing. And that's why those that have the guts and the balls to make something out of themselves, they despise them because they're jealous. The only way that they can know the piece of success is by taking it out of somebody else's hip. So anyway, check out Tucker Carlson's channel and subscribe, like it. And anyway, so he managed to interview Mr. Georgescu, right? And to me, I try not to get too involved in foreign politics. I mean, I've been an observer of various political processes throughout my years. Okay, I've always been a staunch observer of foreign policy around the world and economics and geopolitics, right? I try my best to basically learn as much as I can and try to research information and share that material with whoever is following me or wanting to know my take about certain issues. So I've started in foreign affairs even way back when I was in high school, or maybe as far as back even as middle school, because I remember collect foreign coins and currencies from overseas when I was in middle school. So I've always been fascinated by global, politics and geopolitics, international trade, commercial development. So all of that, I've always been very intrigued by it and tried to follow it as much as I can. Obviously, because of my career and my overall business activity and projects, haven't been as connected to certain geopolitics and geoeconomics situation. But pertaining to Romania, because I've been there and lived there and still are connected to some people there, I thought I'd talk about my opinion. This is my take. I'm not trying to take side. I'm just trying to look at the evidence and trying to learn about certain conditions and facts as they become public. Obviously, you can't always trust what people are cranking out there, what people are sharing with the world, because most of them have been fabricated. They've been spun around, doctored, and tried to become a propaganda platform. So to me, just as an observer, right, I'm not taking sides. To me, if Mr. Georgescu, a citizen of Romania, wants to run for office, then they should allow him to run for office. It's a democratic process, because he's a citizen, wants to run. Winning or losing is irrelevant. If he just wants to run, then that's his right as a citizen to run. That's my take. Any citizen of a country, okay, is entitled to seek public office, okay? And as I mentioned, it's irrelevant, if he wins or loses. So I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm not going to say he's going to lose, because I don't know what's going to happen. But to me, technically, as a citizen of a country, then he should be given the privileges of a citizen. So in his interview with Tucker Carlson, he mentioned specifically that he's no longer able to run for office. Now, I don't know what the laws are in Romania regarding, banning politicians from running for office. But last time I checked, Romania is democracy. So overall, I think if that were to be the case, then in a democracy, he should be given the opportunity to run for office. Okay? Nelson Mandela of South Africa was given the opportunity to run for office. Okay? After he was released from jail, many oppositions around the world, politicians, right, that have been in jail or been banned or, you know, whose rights were stripped from running for office, have managed to run for office. And most of them win. Okay? I'm not saying that's going to be the case for Mr. Georgescu, but at least he should consider the fact that, you know, they basically annulled the first results to their election. So he's starting from scratch. He's starting from zero over again. So that's my take. But then again, I'm not a citizen of Romania, and I don't have any, you know, political affiliation with Romania. But as an observer, that's my take. All right, folks. That's just how I see things. To be fair and balanced when we interact with each other, and, you know, try to hear people out. Anyway, thanks for joining me on my video blog as I do a little bit of walking. It's a really beautiful day to walk right now. It's so mild. I feel the breeze, and it's not warm, it's not too cold. It's just the perfect weather to be running and walking. And luckily I have you know, streets board here that I can walk on. Okay, so anyway, that's my take on the upcoming Romanian election in May. I've written and have done, you know, an opinion interview on this issue, and as most of you guys know, I've also competed and was not given the opportunity to compete in the US general election, 2020 general election. So I kind of know what it's like, but then again, I wasn't given the privileges to address the public because of the pandemic. I kind of timed my campaign when people weren't allowed to congregate. They weren't allowed to interact within proximity, so it was harder to talk to potential voters. But other than that, you know, I haven't given up. I'm still gonna keep on fighting. I'm still gonna keep on supporting causes that I believe in, even to my own detriment sometimes. There are like people that don't like what I say and are not a big fan of me, and, you know, they take it out on me. They make sure that I know that they don't like me. But that's, you know, okay. But I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna say, well, you know, people don't agree with me, and people basically tried to silence my voice and didn't want to support me. I'm not gonna stop. Okay, folks. Point in case, yesterday I was a guest on a town hall where you know, I was a part of the community, and I didn't agree with certain policies and procedures and interactions among members of that community, and I spoke my mind. You know, they kicked me off the town hall. It was a virtual town hall, so they basically silenced me. But you know what? I will speak my mind, and I will expose corruption, evil, and and I will speak the truth. That's the only thing I have, is the truth, and I will speak it. I don't care what powerful elite or institution would try to silence me. Okay, I will keep on keeping on, because I know that somebody out there is listening, and if they feel that what I'm telling them resonates, then great. Okay, I'll be more than happy to continue. I also know that there's people out there, like some of you there now, listening to my video blog, that have mean things to say and very childish things to say, you know, the way that you behave. I'm not going to kick you off on my channel. I'm going to let you speak your mind, because I believe in democracy. I believe in dissent. And go ahead and bombast me and do what you want to do. I'm not going to quit. Okay? So, anyhow, for those of you guys that are really supporting and valuing what I say, thank you so much for joining me regularly. And I hope that, you know, one way or the other we'll connect again, either virtually or personally. But yeah, so that's the situation right now, folks. I'm mainly interested in sharing my views and opinions, okay? Because I'm talking from experience sometimes, and sometimes I'm talking about based off of research. So I try not to talk about stuff that I have no subject matter expertise in. So anyway, going back to Mr. Georgescu's issue. The guy is, you know, in his, I believe in his 60s, and he's very passionate about his country. He loves his country just like every other, you know, politician that are not corrupt. They put their country first and themselves last. And you know what? No one should be chastised and penalized for wanting to put their country first and serve their country, to make their country a better, stronger, more democratic society. Alright, folks. So anyway, please let me know what you think about what I'm talking about. You know, opine as much as you can. I really would like to know your positions on some of the things that I talk about. And also tell me what it is that you want me to kind of cover on my podcast or video blog. So basically I can research them and kind of opine and learn more about the overall situation prior to me providing an opinion. So anyway, thank you for joining me on my exercise and video blog activity. So what else should I talk about? Okay, this illegal or quasi-illegal alien from El Salvador has been pardoned by the Department of Justice. Okay, so basically they're not going to be deporting him. So as y'all may have seen on the news, especially the, you know, right-leaning news organization, or I should say, is it the Democrat-leaning news organizations, trying to paint the picture of the administration as an administration that's want to send out all the illegals, blanket exportation of that's not really the case. They're targeting those that, one, are violent, two, that knowingly violated our immigration laws. They don't have to be violent, but they knowingly violated our immigration laws. And 3 were supported by Americans and assisting in their overall violation of the laws. So those are the ones that were deported. The ones that were supported and provided aid by Americans in breaking the law, the ones that are knowingly breaking the law, and the violent, criminals are being deported. So there are still people out there that are here illegally but are not being deported. Okay, so that in itself just shows to you that this administration is not an illogical administration. They're not one of those powerful that just blanket you develop a blanket policy without considering facts and cases that mitigate circumstances that could be of value in their decision-making process. So that's the reality of things, folks. The Democrats are just, out there trying to mudsling and try to destroy reputations. That's all they're good at, destroying reputations, silencing people. And so anyway, as I was saying, Mr. Georgescu is now able to share his case with the American public. So that in itself will change the dynamics of the outcome of his, activity and participation in Romanian politics. Will he be allowed to run or campaign? I don't know. But by him trying to influence and share his story with the American public, and many of the influencers in America and people that have authority and power will weigh in to see if he has provided credible information, okay, in support of his case. So today, most of what I did was basically just, researching issues, talking to people, learning as much as I can before going out and doing my video blog today. So anyway, folks, that's where everything is at this point. Tons of news going on that are breaking news and could change the overall course of politics, society, and religion around the world. And it's happening via social media, via faceconomics. Okay, folks, our platform was designed and our concept was introduced to help make sense of the social media revolution, social media era around the world. Because never has been in human history have had access to each other simultaneously so rapidly. Okay, all the barriers and borders have been faced by social media platform. Excuse me. And basically that many evil things is happening also, and I talked about that yesterday. So watch my video blog from yesterday, and all I talked about was how the social media platform is being mismanaged and misused, and it's destroying societies around the world. Okay, I spent 45 minutes talking about it. So with that said, folks, thank you for joining me. This is at the end of my walk for today. I just thought I'd say hello and, share some of my views on what's been taking place virtually and overseas, so that y'all have some sort of perspective. I'm not expecting for you all to be experts or, well versed in some of these topics, but I did want to kind of share some of the things that I'm currently engaged in and have been paying attention to. With that said, my name's Al Mina, the concept author of Faceconomics, the utilization of the social media platform in economic development. Please subscribe, share, like our material, tell your friends about our campaigns, and hopefully we'll have our next engagement sometime tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care.